So the Baal worshipers, they've no doubt got pyrotechnics stuffed in with the wood and everything else, and they go up to pull off their illusion, and they couldn't get their fire to start. They're cutting themselves, they're dancing, they're screaming, they're ranting, they're out there all morning, and Elijah is laughing at them because nothing can happen, and so uh, they're going to, do these sacrifices. Uh, then, and they'd been sacrificing children. That was the whole, theme of it. Um, Everybody from the area is there because they're in the middle of a drought, and this is going to be maybe the chance where they're going to get this drought stopped somehow. So they're all up on this hill, everybody from the region, and kind of like a rock concert or something. So then, as the day wears on, Elijah says, "Okay, well, you had your chance. It's our turn." And these guys are exhausted. They're out in the hot sun doing all their stuff. And Elijah says, "First, before we do ours, let's throw some water on it." Well, they're in the middle of a drought. Water's not easy to come by. He has them bring water and douse his uh, offering, his site where they're going to do this big bonfire. And once they do it once, he goes down, tests the wood, looks at, no, not wet enough yet. He doesn't want any question that God did something. And part of the reason was because the priests uh, were proclaiming that, Elijah might have done something to, put pyrotechnics in his sacrifice altar, which of course is what they did. It didn't work. They're trying to figure out how he's going to pull this off with this magic. I guess it's all illusion. And so he has him douse it again. He has the priest check it over, look over his sacrifice altar, make sure there's nothing in there. And he says, "Well, do it one more time." Well, again, water's like super precious. It's a big bonfire, and they're throwing water on it when they're all, in a drought. But they do it again, and you have to picture that it's the priests of Baal that are helping make sure this happened. The water's down at the bottom of the hill. They had to cart the water up the hill. They're sweating, all their makeup's running, you know, uh, all of their costumes are starting to come unraveled around them as they're doing all this work to make sure that Elijah's offering isn't going to go off. So uh, they douse this thing, and then Elijah lifts his hands and prays, and a lightning bolt comes out of heaven and just completely consumes, like with nuclear heat, uh, this offering. Everybody that's there sees this spectacle, and they immediately realize that it was the God of Elijah, which doesn't want these types of sacrifices, that they've been conned. They've literally been sacrificing their own children to do better, have a good harvest, have rain, whatever. And they turn on the priests of Baal and kill them all. And they're gone. And it leads into a whole big thing with other things that happened around Israel in the months that followed. But the reason I mention all that is that there's this history that's even a biblical history, and including human sacrifice. And in the even the word Cana Baal, okay, has to do with the fact that these Baal priests would eat the humans that they sacrificed, the children and even adults. Well, within that realm, even down to this day, a lot of these Baal worshipers, Satan worshipers, want to sacrifice humans. But even within the animals, as they come up to their high holy day, they're doing multiple sacrifice days during this harvest season in the fall. And before they do the sacrifices, they adrenalize their victims because they believe that the meat tastes better adrenalized. So they adrenalize them for several days, generally starting 3 days before the sacrifice. Here we are on the 29th today. See, it's right. No, today's 30th. Take it back. I'm off a day. Um, and of October, well, they would be in their second day of scaring the living daylights out of their victims, tormenting them, torturing them. I had a call coming. I apologize. So their bodies are full of adrenaline, which they then take. You see it in a lot of countries where they still, and in Africa, where they still adrenalize animals uh, before they kill them and eat them in way. And so you think of sacrifices of humans, Halloween, then or in the world, there's people going, including children, to prepare them to be killed as a sacrifice to Baal. These Satanists still live and operate and function in the world that we're in today, and that's part of the big fight that we're in at some monstrous level. So I don't know if you've heard all of that before from other stuff that I've talked about, Mike, but that's kind of the context.
Yeah, that the jack-o'-lantern, where if they'd given to the priest already and they accepted their sacrifice or their donation, whatever it might be, whether it's money or children, whatever it was, they would.
Well, yeah. Let me elaborate on that a little bit. So in England, back 400, 500, 600 years ago, what would happen is they had these bands, the groups that were essentially Satan worshipers, druids and that crowd, and around the country, the custom was and had been for several hundred years